at the poverty line. And the interesting thing here is that Declan Costello of the European Commission, a representative of the old Troika, if you don't believe me, has sent a letter before the signing of the bill, before the passing of the bill, saying that if the government, if the parliament passes that bill, it will be a unilateral action against the 20th of February 20th agreement. And of course, the Speaker of the House said, the legislative initiative of the Greek parliament cannot be blackmailed. I'm sorry, we will not tolerate that. And they passed it anyway, and nothing happened, of course. Mm-hmm. But you see that they're trying to put pressure again and again and again, and at the absolute point of they're trying to put pressure at the limit, so they can get whatever they can get, and maybe have Syriza confused or economically asphyxiated and surrender to Berlin. But it's not going to happen. And I don't know what they're going to do afterwards.
Their view of Europe seems to be that it's some kind of a penal colony, all right? That it's a form of hell on earth, and I don't know. It does raise some questions about the mental stability of Merkel and maybe even more of Schäuble, right? Who seem to be apoplectic, right? Maybe there's some early onset dementia going on with Schäuble, because he doesn't seem to get reality. Now, I couldn't conclude our talk today without asking you about this propaganda campaign mounted by the Anglo-Americans about Varoufakis making this coarse gesture with his hands and fingers against, I guess, the Berlin regime of Merkel and Schäuble. You have any comment on that one?
Yes, but the video is a fake. Okay, it's just a German satirical show. Came out and said, we made it. We made the video. Okay, but the audio is original. He says, and stick the finger to Germany. But he talks about a period at the beginning of 2010 that Greece didn't owe Germany 1 cent. And he simply said, we should have defaulted, and stick the finger and say, you can solve the euro problem by your own. He didn't say that to the German people or to the German taxpayer. They're trying to make it seem like he stick the finger to the German taxpayer. He didn't. He stick the finger to the German elites, but he didn't even. The video is fake, but the audio is original.
All right, but now look, when you say the stuff with finger, I mean, there is this other closely related idiom, at least verbally, right? Is you stick your finger in somebody's eye. You can give somebody a finger in the eye, and that's not so provocative, I guess. As this.
Point the finger.
You can point the finger, exactly. So. So this is it's a big fraud. And again, I would recommend people in Greece, I mean, the thing to hammer on is that Merkel is a creature of the Deutsche Bank, of this guy Josef Ackermann. That's who made her, right? She's there because of Ackermann's support and that, of course, of a couple of other top bankers. The only other thing that I would be interested in finding out, maybe for future weeks, is as I have said, right, as somebody who has organized in Europe myself, the one thing you have to understand, after the Treaty of Rome, country by country organizing doesn't work. And what we're seeing these days, I don't think it has anything to do with insufficiencies of Tsipras or Varoufakis, but that they were stuck with a one-nation political force. What they needed was an international party, obviously in the European Union and maybe outside of it too. Is there any awareness that that somehow needs to be dealt with? I mean, I followed what they did in Italy last year for the European election, and they got a collection of very dubious characters who nevertheless had names, but they were inadequate. They just barely got over the hurdle, right? The minimum number of votes. Any discussion about going international? A kind of a Syriza International.
That's a very good point. There are some voices, but there are very few, and it's difficult to organize in a European level. But there are a few voices. I have written about it, and I think that you're absolutely right. We cannot be true Europeans. We cannot be Europe without a European unemployment fund or European trade unions and
sure.
European minimum wage anyway.
Exactly. Okay, the music is telling us we're finished. We'll see you again next week, Michael. All the best. Thank you. Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley here in Washington, D.C. Now, we're very pleased to bring you an interview with a political candidate for the current year. That is to say, for 2015. Political stirrings are starting, primary season coming up, and we're very happy to bring you a talk now with Adam Rodriguez. Adam Rodriguez is a candidate for the County Commission of Monroe County, Pennsylvania. Monroe County, Pennsylvania is the area of the Delaware water gap. It's on the New Jersey border, and it tends to function as a kind of dormitory suburb for New York City. And Adam is looking forward to this county commissioner race in the Democratic primary, and that's going to be held on the 19th of May. So, Adam, welcome, and tell us about your campaign.
Sure. Well, this is really great to be on here, Webster. Thanks for this opportunity. The campaign is going well. Initially, I was thinking that I was going to be able to walk on the ballot, but at the very last minute, two candidates popped up, and so there's going to be a primary. So we're in for a fight. This is really it's such an opportune situation for someone like myself running, because, as you know, as some of your listeners may know, I did run for Congress, and unfortunately, I fell short of the 1,000 signatures by about 100. And so this time around, we're already on the ballot. I got my team out. I got a crew of people that are very are great. They're loyal to me, and they're out working hard. Basically, the county commissioner's position in this county that we're in, like you said, we're in Delaware water gap. So this is a prime example of what can be done with the type of economics that I've studied the American system, and that we've talked about before on this program. And because the reason for that is it fits right at the gap. Now the gap is going to be traversed at some point again with rail. Right now it's not, but it must be traversed in order for the United States to really grow economically speaking. And it's a vital junction, because the gap is pretty narrow. It's a mountainous region that goes into the Poconos, the eastern Appalachian Mountains, and at one time there was rail, and that was key for the United States victory over the Nazis and the Japanese in World War II, because most of the material came out of the Scranton area. Now, that's been shut down since the early 1970s. There's been no rail. And it's my goal, as one of the things that I'd like to promote as county commissioner, because I do not have jurisdiction over this, but I can work and agitate for rail, which would not only benefit a lot of the commuters in my area, but it would turn Stroudsburg into a transportation hub that would be basically the eastern capital of Pennsylvania. So I'm deeming part of what I want to deem my campaign is as goes Monroe County, so goes the United States, because it's not only going to be rail, it's going to be high-speed rail, and it's going to be maglev rail. And quite frankly, maglev rail cannot go through the gap at normal speed, so therefore it's going to have to be traversed over the gap, which means either a bridge or maybe even entertaining the idea of a dam, which was at one point under the WPA program supposed to take place, and that never happened. And that was supposed to extend all the way 40 miles, all the way to the conjunction of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York, up by Port Jervis. That's how long that dam, that reservoir would have been, and that dam would have supplied power, cheap hydroelectric power at a high head water dam for hundreds of thousands of people in that area. Instead, they're having to rely on natural gas, they're having to rely on electricity. It's expensive, it's onerous, and it's just cumbersome. So we need to get back to that kind of thinking in that area. And, you know, the county commissioner's race, I'll tell you, this is a tough race. You wouldn't think that a local municipal race, this is a municipal race in an off-year election. And the way it works is there's 3 county commissioners. I want to be one of them. 2 can either be Democrat and 1 can be a Republican, or it can be 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat, depending on how the voters come out and who they want to vote for. So in the primary, we're putting forward our 2 candidates, of which I will hopefully be one of them. Now, you know, I'm really hoping to do a fundraiser this month. We're getting out. We're doing a grassroots canvassing campaign. We're going to get out. We're going to put the flyers out saying, "Come out and vote for me. Here's why you need to vote for me." And I'm also running as a team. Actually, this is unique in the state of Pennsylvania. There might be one other